Okay everyone, welcome back to another video on Gran Turismo 7. I am going to show you how to earn 2 million credits in under 2 minutes on Gran Turismo 7 with the new Sport Mode time trial that launches every 2 weeks. We do these every single 2 weeks, so if you do enjoy this video, you find it helpful, feel free to subscribe. I'll get these videos out every 2 weeks without fail. And yeah, give it a thumbs up if you enjoy it and if it helps you out. But yeah, this guide should help you get the 2 million credits. It's not the hardest one to do, although there is some things with this car that might help you get it a little bit easier. So I'm going to go through them. But yeah, let's get into the main details of this and show you how you can do it and how you can get these 2 million credits. So from the main menu, simply click into sport mode in the top right hand corner. From there, you're going to go to the online time trial, click onto that, and you are going to see there that you've got the event to enter. Current time that I've set is a 1 minute 55.3. It's not far off the top time, and you've got 14 days to do this from when it went live. Now, you have to get within the goal time, obviously, to get the 2 million credits, and we'll show you how to do that. But if you do want to load my Ghost up and watch it, you can do so from inside the leaderboard there. We're currently P6 in the world. Load it up, watch the lap, and also when you're in the session, you can load my lap up and chase my Ghost, because the replay is now saved on the server throughout the time of this time trial. Now, you're going to probably need a 1 minute 57.9 at least, I think, to get the gold on this, and a under 2 minutes to 2 minute flat for silver, and under 2:06 for the bronze. So bear that in mind. As the week goes on, the times will improve and then times will come down. It's based on a percentage of the lap time, not the amount of people. Now, once you've done it, you'll get the 2 million credits at the end of the 2 weeks, so you will need to wait for the 2 weeks to end before you get the 2 million credits. Remember that. Now, on the lap, this is an electric car. It's the ID R. You can get this car by renting it as well. So, you know, if you haven't got the car, you can rent it. Now, you have DRS with this car, so make sure you map your DRS onto the controller or the wheel. Now, we're going to go past the 50 board for the first corner, and then we're actually turning in before we're putting braking input in. You can see I'm already turning in, tiny bit of braking input. We're not going to go super aggressive with the brakes. Off the brakes now, and then back onto the throttle. And you can see I'm actually using the DRS in the middle of the corner. This is to help with rotation. I find it's a little bit risky, but it does help rotate the car a little bit and gives you a little bit better exit speed. Through this section, it is completely flat out. You do not need to lift. I'm actually using DRS. You might not want to use it if you feel safe and not using it. To get the gold time, you don't need to do it, but I'm trying to push for a faster lap time. So yeah, we're using the DRS all the way through that section, being as smooth as you can with your inputs. So important through there. Now, this very fast left-hand corner, you're going to go past the 50 board, and as you're turning and coming off the curb, braking inputs are going in. You can see we're turning, going off the curb, trying to get this left-hand tyre close as we can to the curb on the left-hand side. And you can see, again, I'm using that DRS all the way through the corner. So pay attention to that DRS. You'll see me using it throughout the lap in the corners and stuff like that. So all the way down straight, DRS on. And now we're using this first white line as a reference for our braking. We're going to brake just fractionally past that. You can see just as we go past, we're onto the brakes. And now we're going to slow down in a straight line as possible. Now, this car is very tricky on the power. You have to be very cautious and get the car squared off. So watch P1 and what I do. We're waiting, letting it square off, then onto the throttle. Once that car is squared off, we can get the power down. Now we're going to get the car over to the right-hand side of the track. I don't use as much of the track on the right as P1, but you can see I use the end of the grass on the right-hand side as a reference for the braking, and just a tiny bit of trail braking all the way through this corner. You're not going aggressive on the brakes. It's nice and gentle. And then be cautious of the throttle again. You don't want to get too early on and understeer over past the curb and get a penalty. Now, back onto that DRS straight away as soon as you're on the power. Working your way through this section. Again, smooth inputs. Just keep the DRS down, smooth inputs. And now this really fast left-hand corner, which again, I'm not on the brakes until I'm getting into the corner. This is how much downforce this car has. So again, you can see DRS still on. Now we're putting a little bit of braking input in as we're going in. I take a very tight line into this corner, and it doesn't actually seem to lose me much at all. You can see tight to the apex, but onto the throttle now, using that DRS to rotate while I'm on the throttle as well. So you can see DRS down, helps with a bit of rotation, and now we're coming out the corner with a reasonable exit going into this very tricky section now. So you're going to use where it goes off at a 45-degree angle there at the end of the blue and yellow board on the left. Use that as a reference, braking just before it, and then slow the car down in a straight line And then as you're going into the corner, you're going to see we're going to start rotating it. So now rotating it. Now be cautious again. No throttle until the car starts rotating. Very similar to the other corner. Wait. Now onto the throttle. Not 100%, 60, 70%. Let the car rotate. Then get on the throttle. Get the right hand tyre onto the curb. Then left hand tyre onto this curb. And now DRS down all the way up the hill to try and maximize that speed into the next braking zone. Now I use there is two references you can use for this braking. There is the end of the R, which I use as the red line, or you can use the start of the red barrier on the right hand side there. Either way, they're both going to serve you right. Now into the braking zone, you can see braking just past that line there, and you're going to try and rotate this in again. You're going to square it off. So again, being patient, waiting for it to square off, and then when I feel it squaring off, getting on the throttle. Now be very cautious on the throttle on this part of the track, because too early and you understeer off into the grass because of the way the electric motors work on this car. It does understeer very easily, so be very cautious if you're too aggressive. Now into this very fast corner. This is really where about being aggressive will pay off. Lifting off the throttle before we put braking input in, and then we put on the braking input in. As soon as we're off the throttle, lift off, brake, and attack the corner. This corner now is all about attacking the curb. You can take quite a big chunk off of it and back onto the throttle as early as you can. It's so important to get on that throttle really soon to stop that car from going wide. It really helps with the rotation. Now we're using the 50 board for the final corner as a reference, braking just before the 50. I turned in a fraction too early, could have went a little bit deeper and squared it off a bit, but what I do manage to do is get the car rotated and onto the throttle reasonably early. So maybe lost a tenth there at least, and I did lose a little tenth in the first sector as well. So I think we could probably get this lap down into a 54 if we were going to push it. So we go over line 55.3. Pretty happy with that, but we can definitely do a 54, and they will be 54s being done on this time trial 100%, probably mid 54s at least. So remember that time trial time is going to go faster, so make sure you go faster than what the current gold is. Watching the lap again from the chase camera, you can actually see the DRS wing opening and how it's open through this section, and how it actually I use it to give more rotation in the fast corners. Because this car's got insane amount of downforce, you can actually get away with it. So again, through this left hand corner, watch the DRS as we come into it, so it's off and then back on there. We're using the DRS for more rotation and to carry more speed out of that corner. And then again, you're going to see what I'm talking about with squaring the car off. So you can see brake, be careful before we put the throttle down, let it turn, then onto the throttle. Always let that front end turn before you're aggressive on the throttle with this car. If you get used to doing that, you're really going to find this time trial a lot easier. Now this track is actually really enjoyable with this car. I have to say I was surprised how much I enjoyed doing this, and I really think I could actually push for a 54. I do think the pace is going to be 54.5, 50.43s at least. I probably could squeeze a 54.8 to 9 out of this if I was going to push it, because I had a lot of fun with this. And it actually suits me. It's a weird one because you don't have the gears. There's no advantage from using gears for rotation. This is all about braking ability, and yeah, there's no short shifting. So controller users that are on automatic, you might find this one a little bit closer and better for you to get the gold. You actually might find it more doable. In terms of the way it drives, loads of grip, just be cautious of that throttle understeer. You can see it nearly caught me out there as I ran a little bit wide, but this section here, this is what I'm talking about. Early on the throttle, and you can see I'm on the DRS actually before we get into the curb to try and extra rotate it. And again, for this corner, you can see holding that blue bit of tarmac on the right, then on the throttle, power that DRS. Don't forget to map your DRS. If you obviously don't want to bother with the DRS, do remember that you can still get the gold time without even touching the DRS at all, but it will help you a little bit to get a faster lap time. But I hope that helps you out. Make sure you hit the thumbs up if it did. Subscribe to the channel, and I will be back with these every single 2 weeks. See you all soon. Bye, everyone.